Kathy Bates has said in interviews this could be her final role. She's walked that back in recent weeks. But look, if this is her final performance, she picked a pretty good one. Let's talk about Matlock. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my TV review for the new CBS series Matlock. This airs Thursday nights, and you can catch all new episodes then. We had the premiere episode of this over a month ago. It was after a big football game, and it gave CBS its best premiere numbers in years. But then we had to wait a few weeks for episode 2. So I wanted to wait so I could, sample 2 episodes of this before I really gave my review of it. I probably could have after the first episode, but I wanted to wait, because there's a big twist ending at the first episode. We're not going to talk about that. I'm not going to do spoilers here. But I wanted to see what a regular episode looks like as well, before I did the review. So look, before we get any further into this show and my thoughts on it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are one of my subscribers already, thank you so much. If you're not, though, please consider subscribing, hit that notification bell, and just like this video, comment below. That stuff helps the channel out tremendously as well. All right, so Matlock, look, when the original was on in the 80s and early 90s, I was not watching it. I was just a kid. I wasn't watching Matlock and Murder, She Wrote and, all of these shows geared towards older folks. But obviously I knew what the show was. I knew the legacy of it. I knew Andy Griffith was on it. I knew he was a lawyer. But that was the extent. I don't think I've ever seen an episode of the original show. But this show is interesting because unlike a lot of the recent CBS shows like, let's say, Magnum P.I. or The Equalizer, or MacGyver, the show Matlock exists in the universe of this Matlock. The original Andy Griffith Matlock exists in this universe, and we talk about that pretty immediately in probably the first scene, I think, of the first episode. She talks about it. So Kathy Bates is playing Maddie Matlock, who is a lawyer from a while back, but she returns to the workforce after a few decades away, and she is grieving the loss of her daughter. She's got a lot of personal stuff going on that we find out more about in the final scene, the final few seconds of the first episode. But you have Sky P. Marshall here and Jason Ritter as Olympia Lawrence and Julian Markston, respectively, and they are going through a divorce, although Olympia is hoping to get a senior partner role, which is where Julian is at the moment. You also have David Del Rio and Leah Lewis, who are first-year associates and sort of end up working with Maddie, all under, kind of Olympia's thumb, and she does not want to take Maddie on. That's clear from the start, but she helps her out with the first case, and therefore, gives herself a place at the table. You also have in a recurring role, Beau Bridges, who is a managing partner at the firm. He has been in both of the first 2 episodes so far, but it says recurring, so maybe he will not be in all of the future installments. But, all right, so that's the basic premise, and I think for spoilers, we're going to sort of leave it there. But like I said, there's a big twist at the end of episode 1, and so I wanted to watch episode 2 as well to see kind of what a normal episode looks like, and we dive in a lot deeper to sort of the secrets behind Maddie's life. And she's also got a grandson, very tech-savvy, who seems like he will be very, very important in this series to help her win the cases. And she is just, a spitfire, as Kathy Bates usually is in a role like this. And it is great for her. Like I said up front, she mentioned in some interviews before this premiere that this might be, kind of a semi-retirement for her. She may take this one to the end, and that will be the career. But look, this is a show, knowing CBS and how they leave things on for years and years, especially with good responses like they've gotten to this show so far. I mean, this could run, 8, 9, 10 years. So, is Kathy Bates going to retire next year? No, of course not. She's going to ride this wave, and I think, she may end up taking some film roles as well while she's still doing this. She's certainly no spring chicken, but look, many people have had acting careers into their 90s. So who's to say? She's walked back those statements a little bit over the last few weeks because I think people were a little bit up in arms, like, oh no, like say it ain't so, Kathy, you're so great, whatever. And she is so great, and this is a wonderful role for her. She is, whip smart. She's using her age to her advantage. She talks in the first episode about how being an old lady, makes you invisible. That's how I got into your offices. I snuck through, kind of everyone letting me go, because I, feigned confusion or whatever, the case may be. And it works, and it works for the character. She's so great. Look, I admit I haven't seen some of her biggest movies. I was not allowed to watch horror movies growing up, so I still have never seen Misery. But obviously Titanic and other things. But she is just great in this role. This for me is what they should be doing, I think, with a lot of these newer series. Some of the remakes or whatever, like the Magnum PIs, they're fine, and they get the job done, and they certainly harken back to, maybe what made those original series so great. But this is really a completely different take on, I think, the character. I mean, look, again, I don't watch, the original Matlock, but it was presented as sort of, like a milquetoast, okay, he's this small town lawyer and he gets by, on his Southern charm and all this stuff. No, she is a very strategic person. She's going to get the job done in her own way, and that is going to help her, win some cases, but it's also going to help her in her personal life. And so, look, for me, this is so far the best new series of the season. We've had a few good ones. I enjoy Brilliant Minds on NBC. I gave High Potential a pretty high mark on ABC. But this, for me, is probably the most fun series so far this season. And, the most well-crafted. And that twist at the end of the first episode is just so, like, it opens up the universe so much more to what is going to come in these subsequent episodes and seasons, that it really is something that a lot of shows don't really have that gotcha factor anymore, especially something like this that is sort of a retread of an old series. But no, this is a whole different take on Matlock, and I am loving it. Hopefully we see many years of this, if this is indeed Kathy Bates's final role. We'll see. But for now, you can check out new episodes of Matlock Thursdays on CBS. I leave it with an A-. All right, thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It, and I will see you next time. Bye.